Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a developing story with significant implications for communities across the country. In mid-October, a series of coordinated raids were conducted by law enforcement in the Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. This event has sparked a great deal of conversation, and our goal today is to break down what happened, explore the context behind it, and understand the various perspectives involved. First, let's establish the timeline. On the morning of October 15th, a large-scale operation involving provincial and federal police services took place at several locations within Tyendinaga. According to official police statements, these raids were the culmination of a months-long investigation into alleged large-scale illicit spews, manufacturing and distribution networks. Authorities reported seizing significant quantities of unregulated products, along with manufacturing equipment and cash. Several individuals were taken into custody and are now facing a range of charges. The police have framed this as a public safety issue, emphasizing the risks associated with unregulated goods entering the broader market. They point to the lack of quality control, potential health hazards, and the financial proceeds allegedly funding other criminal activities as the primary motivators for the operation. From their perspective, this was a necessary and targeted action to dismantle a sophisticated criminal enterprise. However, this is far from the only viewpoint. The Mohawk Council of Tyendinaga released a statement shortly after the raids, expressing deep concern over the heavy-handed nature of the police action and the lack of prior consultation. They highlighted the potential for such operations to create fear and mistrust within the community, undermining years of work to build positive relationships with external authorities. The council stressed that issues of jurisdiction and economic self-determination are at the heart of this conflict. To truly understand this, we need to look at the bigger picture of Indigenous sovereignty and economic development. For many First Nations, including Tyendinaga, developing independent economies is a critical path towards self-sufficiency and breaking cycles of poverty and dependency that have resulted from colonial policies. Industries that operate within a gray area of federal and provincial law have often emerged in this context. From a community perspective, these enterprises can be seen not as criminal, but as expressions of inherent rights and a way to provide employment and generate revenue for community programs, infrastructure, and social services where government funding falls short. Many people on the ground view these businesses as legitimate, community-based economic activities. Therefore, when a large, militarized-style police force enters the territory, it's often perceived not as a simple law enforcement action, but as an infringement on their sovereignty and an attack on their economic livelihood. This raises complex legal and jurisdictional questions that have been debated in Canadian courts for decades. Who has the authority to regulate commerce on First Nations territory? Do provincial laws apply, or do inherent Indigenous and treaty rights take precedence? These are not simple questions with easy answers, and the raids in Tyendinaga bring them to the forefront once again. The history of relations between Indigenous peoples and Canadian law enforcement is also a crucial element here. There's a long and painful history of mistrust, stemming from events where police were used to enforce colonial policies, dispossess Indigenous peoples of their land, and suppress assertions of sovereignty. For many community members, seeing a large police presence on their land is a deeply triggering event that evokes this historical trauma. It's seen as a continuation of a pattern of external control rather than a partnership in maintaining community safety. In the aftermath, community leaders are calling for dialogue, not confrontation. They are advocating for government-to-government negotiations to find a path forward that respects Indigenous rights, sovereignty, and economic aspirations, while also addressing legitimate public safety concerns. The argument is that these issues cannot be solved through enforcement alone. They require political solutions that are co-developed with First Nations leadership. This also has a human element. The individuals arrested are members of the community. They are family members, neighbors, and friends. The impact of these raids goes beyond the businesses themselves, affecting families and creating division within the community. The social fabric is strained, and the healing process will be long and complicated. Looking ahead, the legal proceedings for those charged will likely be lengthy and could set new precedents. Community advocates and legal experts will be watching closely. The key question will be how the courts balance provincial and federal laws with the constitutionally protected rights of Indigenous peoples. This event in Tyendinaga is a microcosm of a much larger, ongoing struggle across Canada. It's about more than just unregulated goods. It's about self-determination, economic justice, and the future of the relationship between the Canadian state and Indigenous nations. It forces all of us to ask difficult questions about what reconciliation really means in practice. Is it just about apologies and symbolic gestures, or does it require fundamental changes to the legal and economic structures that continue to marginalize Indigenous communities? As this story continues to unfold, we'll keep you updated on the legal battles, the political responses, and the community's efforts to heal and move forward. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but understanding all sides is the first step. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis. We'll see you in the next one.